The next slide I'll be going over is the purpose of contracts. The purpose of contracts is to document the terms and conditions of your relationship with the healthcare providers, with the patient, and with other partners that you'll have in the medical tourism process. And it's beneficial to all parties because everyone can look at this document and see who's responsible for what. Also, it's going to outline the rights, the duties, and the expectations of everyone that partakes in the medical tourism process. And it serves as a guiding document if issues occur, and it limits your overall liability as a medical tourism facilitator. Which party should have a written agreement in medical tourism? The three primary parties in the medical tourism process is the health tourism facilitator, the medical tourist, and the overseas healthcare providers, and they should all have written agreements. So as some of you know, I've been in the medical travel industry for nearly a decade. And over that time, I've seen a lot of different scenarios when it comes to contracts and when it comes to managing risk in the medical travel industry. And one thing I want to encourage you guys not to do is not to let a bad contract ruin your business, because I've seen people get themselves into horrible situations by writing their own contracts. Now, if you have a legal background or if you've written business contracts before, that's one thing. But if you have no experience writing medical tourism contracts or contracts in general, I would caution you against writing medical tourism contracts for yourself and using your business as an experiment. And I've seen some people who have solid medical tourism contracts and they've been able to get themselves out of tight situations. And I've also seen the opposite situations where people have gotten themselves into bad situations by having weak medical tourism contracts. So I want to caution you guys against writing your own medical tourism contracts. And the reason you don't want to do this is because you don't want your clients to end up in a bad situation and not have any recourse. You don't want your business to end up in a bad situation, and you don't want your personal assets to be at risk if an unfortunate event takes place. Because I've seen people go online, use free online resources to try to make their contracts, and they ultimately end up with a weak contract, and it causes problems down the road. And it could ultimately cost you money. If you get in a situation where you have to test your medical tourism contracts and you've left clauses out and you left yourself vulnerable, it can cost you serious money down the road. And you could also end up spending a lot of time in a lawsuit. And you guys have to keep in mind that your medical tourism contracts are the foundation of your business. They're a contract with all your partners, with your clients. They're really going to detail the way your relationships play out down the road. And once you get a solid medical tourism contract, you can use it for the duration of your business. So I would encourage you not to cut corners, not to try to do it on your own to save a few bucks. Make an investment that will pay off for the duration of your business. You know that these are tried and true contracts that medical tourism facilitators are using. And in a lot of scenarios, you're really going to get the benefit of avoiding lawsuits, because if something goes wrong, you could point to your contracts and say, hey, I wasn't responsible for that. Or, hey, here's a party that's responsible for that. And as an agent, you're going to have the confidence to coordinate these international medical tourism trips, knowing that you're legally protected and you're in the best situation possible if something does go wrong.